the land of confusion. Welcome to Blaze Weekly News. Podcast number 261 this week. Russell Dowden here with Rachel Nelson riding shotgun. We are live again this week on the show as we've been doing the show Thursdays live here in the studio in Round Rock as of late. Let us know if you like the live versions because then you can interact with us. I'd like to maybe take a call.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Wouldn't that... I don't know, maybe we'll run my phone number. We can actually make this phone number go right to the... And I'm playing the music from the phone, so...
Might as well.
We may do that. Of course, I would be putting my number out. I get enough spam bot calls anyways. Doesn't matter. No one's gonna call me anyway, but no one calls me anyhow. It is. Welcome to Blaze Weekly News. How are you, Carl? How are you, my friend?
Doing great, man. Thanks.
All right.
Crazy week, but it's always good.
Well, we've got a lot of things to report on today, and then some things are kind of a dead. I mean, look, we all know what's going on with where we're at. We're at the district court level where things. So there's David Sergia last week, if you recall, kind of gave us a breakdown on, how I asked how the ebb and flow of all of this would work and how we would end up, in the coming weeks. So we do have the injunctions in place, as I understand it. It has moved around a few times here Thursday. Rachel, they had the injunction Friday. The state filed to move it to the higher court. They got the appeal, and so then products had to go back away on shelves.
Yes.
And then I think now they're back on shelves.
Right. And
at least
confusing.
At least that's the so David talked about the whiplash.
Mm-hmm.
You asked him about that. You
Yeah.
comment on all of this craziness.
Yes,
Rachel?
and I think just to anyone watching, if you are ever curious what's going on, blazenews.com is such a good resource because we do post updates. Jay McGuire, our political reporter, is really good at giving some in-depth updates on all that stuff. So
Yeah, and not every I was reading that we're supposed to put for every show we do, we should have at least 10 pieces of content coming out, and I put out maybe 5.
Yeah.
But I'm running a magazine and trying to do all of this too. But we'll try to get more of these little shorts out in the coming weeks. You'll see more of that. But we do have a little bit of rebranding we're trying out here at the studio in Round Rock, and in the coming months, we're picking up a new audience in New Mexico because we're going to start leaving the magazines out there. And I guess we can probably talk about that a tad as we introduce this kind of new branding. I was talking to Wyatt Perp about Wyatt LaRue. I was sharing with him. He was one of the first that I shared this new logo with, the gold one here that you see. And he said, "Yeah, that's pretty cool, Russell. That's a professional looking brand." And he said, that compared to your old one makes your old logo look like a Skittles candy wrapper or something. he was like, it makes it look like candy. I believe it's in there, Carl. The magazine logo is there. Yeah, there we go. There's some of the graphics. I think Carl made this one.
Yeah, and Wyatt's opinion we can trust because we know that his logo, Wyatt Perp, is one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's got great branding, Wyatt. But just sharing with the audience the upcoming brand changes, you'll see we are expanding the circulation. Here we go. And this is kind of one of our, this prototype cover. I don't know. The art may change. We've got an interview scheduled later this month with Tommy, or may even be Tommy and Cheech. I don't know. I'm talking with their people right now, and so we're actually what I was going to do is let Stone Slade interview Tommy.
Oh, perfect.
And I don't have to, or maybe Stone can be a part of the show and do it. But I want to think, where is Stone Slade? If you're out there, holler at me. I want to see if you want to come on the show a little more. I know he's been, I don't think he does Jason's show every Tuesday or Thursday, but I'd like to get Stone in over here a little more often. But that is part of the preview there. Let's go into the circulation expansion maybe. We have arranged for circulation to land in stores in New Mexico and Oklahoma. And so part of the expansion with the rebrand is going to get our publication into these states. So they'll be in recreational markets. But then you see here our Texas 35 corridor, and run through the individual ones, Carl. There's individual maps. This is where we are now. Our circulation for Blaze Magazine is on the I-35 corridor. Years ago, we were in Houston, we were in Dallas, but in the last 2 years, this is really cool. When you enter our spreadsheet, through the kind of an API with Google, that kicks out where the locations that have us. And so we've done that with the new graphics with New Mexico. These are the big cities. The big glowing cities are the cities where most of the circulation will be. And then that's the same true for Oklahoma. So a lot of the Oklahoma's rural. Don't have a lot of drops in Oklahoma City just yet, but this tells you a little bit where in the summer we'll start picking up locations. And so this is helping us to expand our footprint into these other states. And I don't know whatever graphic was after that, Carl. I think there might have been another one there. I'm not sure, but basically that's in the nutshell the expansion of the publication. And yeah, so you'll be able to see us getting them out there that way. And this is going to help us with all of the inconsistency in Texas. It's just hard to garner advertising revenue. That's we're based on advertising revenue, and so we're going to put these in other states and cover news there as well. One of the reasons we rebranded Blaze in 2025 anyway is we didn't want to be Texas anything, not knowing the future of the Texas market as we are all experiencing this week. So anyone, leave a comment below if you'd like to comment on the show or have a question. We're going to read off some news this week, maybe even take a call from one of our friends and champs. Since we're live this week, we're taking we've passed off the link to get into the studio here from several colleagues that are attending champs. I believe Jeff Dole will be in from Trinity Hemp shortly. Shout out to Dalton O'Neill, by the way, for suggesting us reach out to Jeff. You reached out to him. What else? I guess we'll go into one of our first stories here I wanted to cover. Some of these are odd, but we live in odd times. So we're going to cover a little news and then some cannabis industry stuff as well. Maybe take some comments, maybe even a phone call. I don't know. I may flash my number on the screen and get you guys to call in here. This one's on kind of total information awareness. This is the Deep Mind story that I saw online earlier this morning. Deep Mind is a new program that's raising fears. The partnership with Google and the Department of Defense and the CIA. There's the article, and there's a graphic for it as well on screen there. Google was started on a grant from the CIA many years back. If you recall the Total Information Awareness Network, if you're old enough, you might remember that. But it's always been a government-controlled platform at Google through intelligence agencies, and it sounds like a technical agreement. And Google being a technology company, you think, oh, this is a good fit. Well, the deal will allow the Pentagon to connect directly to the Google's AI through an API integration, essentially embedding the tools into the Defense Department from Google, which ultimately dramatically extends a large-scale surveillance capability. And I just saw the other day there's future cars that are going to be coming out in 2027 that have AI into them. But Alphabet Inc., Google's parent company, addressed the concerns. Quote, "We will remain committed to the private and public sector consensus that AI should not be used for domestic mass surveillance or anonymous weaponry without appropriate human oversight." Sounds great in theory. However, the issue is that these systems themselves can also be manipulated and have concern because they can be misused in classified environments where there is very little or limited oversight. Skynet fights back, Rachel. All too familiar scenario. We've all heard of the Hollywood Terminator series. Here we are. Any thoughts, guys, on the comments below if you're watching? What are your thoughts? Do we have to worry about Big Brother watching? And how do we feel about Department of Defense and Google partnering up there? President Trump has made that proclamation that he wanted America to lead the global infrastructure in AI. and it's all touching our lives in some way or another. We're
Yeah.
using it here in the magazine a lot. Any thoughts, Carl or Rachel, on the Skynet fighting back potentiality there? AI, good or bad? What do you guys think? Leave a comment below. Huh?
It's both. Because, like, we use AI a lot as a tool and it supplements our skill sets. But then, there comes a point where it can be used for evil. And when you say cars in 2027, are you referring to, I saw a thing.
I saw it on the other day. Yeah.
It's like they'll be able to, like, turn off your car.
Or what I thought or interpreted the ad or article on social media was that the cars coming in 2027 and beyond will be equipped with internal AI systems inside the vehicle, maybe allowing Big Brother to watch you, whatever you're doing. How many smokes of left-handed cigarette or beers have you had in your car?
I know.
Or
Yes.
whatever you're doing in your car, or whomever you're doing in your car.
Or if you, my aunt was telling me that she's shopping for cars and she was looking at a Lexus SUV, and she said that in 2027 they're going to start having capabilities where they can tell, like, if your eyes look a little red or just stuff like that, and be able to not allow you to start your car. And so that's pretty crazy. I don't like that.
Wow. Well, there's already, some of us, we've all had the friend that had the DWI and they had to blow in the thing and you can't start the car. And, that's happened to a lot of us and a lot of family friends. There was a graphic for that story in the graphic images for that. Did that come up, Carl? I just wanted to see if that one came up for us, because that was different than the article. Some of them have articles and some of them have graphics. Some of them have both.
Sure,
So
yeah. No, I pulled it up already. The deep, the Google one. Let me see.
yeah, the Google one there. What was that image? I didn't know if the image showed up.
Yeah,
If
you
it
saw
did,
the
I didn't
Google
see it.
Deep
Yeah,
Mind.
there it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
That was the Google
Yeah.
DeepMind. Yeah, that's what we were referring to. I didn't see that earlier. If you had brought that up,
Sir, yeah, we're on point.
but anyway, move on to the next one. Lawmakers defy logic. Have you guys seen the reporting of the lawmakers that have reports of UFO stuff? They got lawmakers speaking out. What we've seen defies logic. That's Tim Burkett and former Florida Republican Senator Matt Gaetz. They've both been part of these secret compartmentalized intelligence briefings, or sometimes they're called SCIFs. And the Tennessee congressman has been interviewed multiple times on TV, various news organizations, Newsmax, others, CNN. If the American people saw what he's seen, they would be up at night. Very concerning there with some of this stuff. But anyway, the reason I mention all of this is it's just crazy with what we're hearing from, push for transparency, disclosure with President Trump. Then you've got all of these hearings going on with the lawmakers. They're making extraordinary claims, and I wonder, where or how close are we to a real disclosure reality, especially when the king of science fiction himself later this month on the 22nd of May is releasing none other than Disclosure Day. Mm-hmm. So the Mr. UFO ET Close Encounters Independence Day, here it is. They're here. Disclosure Day starts May 22nd. Spielberg returning again to the sci-fi genre. And I'm just saying, with all of the stuff going on in Congress, there's presidential mandates looking to release UFO files. Is this a distraction from Epstein files, Rachel? Is this...
I'm sure.
You know-
I don't know. I feel like the Epstein Files has, like, lived its life for a while. It was like all you were hearing about for a while, and now I feel like it's kind of simmered down a bit.
Anyway, what do you guys think about that? If you're out there, are they out there? Are we going to have disclosure? That's an interesting theory to take on there. I like this stuff. I'm no stranger to paranormal. I've been doing was May the 4th be with you for Star Wars fans and nerds like myself. No, but Carl and I, Rachel, did a show. I don't know. I guess it was in 2023, Carl, where we were doing the Paranoid America shows, and we did those an hour after we did this show. I think we were doing 2 shows the same night, and we did that for a little while, and that was fun. But we did have some really interesting guests, and I'm interested in that. I think there's something there. I'm with this New Mexico expansion. We have arranged to have a show on the radio in Roswell that would give us a platform. There's 2 radio stations that I was going to buy airtime, and I was going to put Weird Weekly News on. Mm-hmm. But I may just keep it blazed if we, with this expansion, we may just want to keep the show Blazed Weekly News over there with them. But that's all coming down in the summer here in another month. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on the disclosure reality, either you or Carl, Rachel?
Man, it's just crazy. You know what? It kind of reminds me of since the pandemic, people feel like time has sped up. And there's so many videos online about this. And it's just, it just feels like things are not the same. Something changed.
Well, I don't know, Carl. There is an article in the issue file for this month that we're working on with the Tommy Chong cover that discusses the Mandela effect.
Yes.
And you're kind of, right?
Yeah, it kind of ties into that, of course, yeah.
Well, the theory about the Mandela effect is that some people remember things differently than the rest of us. And Carl, any thoughts on...
No, another good one that just kind of comes to mind that I know was talked about a few years ago was the Berenstein or the Berenstein books. Mm-hmm. The Berenstein Bears. You remember that? Some people remember the name as Berenstein or Berenstein. It's either one. It's like it's like there's a mix of what people want to remember.
I always thought it was Bernstein Bears.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, something like that. But
yeah, something about the spelling or something where it's basically the Mandela effect is where a collective group of people remember something being a way that reality now shows it's not. So, for example, the Monopoly man having a monocle. I remember that, but allegedly he's never had it. It was never
the monocle, which is I've always remembered the monocle.
Yeah, no, apparently that was, and then on I Love Lucy, whenever there's one of his famous lines in the show. I think it's the Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
Yeah, I think that's what I remember.
Allegedly, that line is not in any episode of I Love Lucy. It's just crazy. Yeah, we could do a whole show dedicated to just that.
Well, I'm trying to mix up a little pop culture fun into the shows because we've had a hard time with all of this back and forth. The whiplash is. We've reported on this. We've reported on what we can report, and we have some cannabis story news here, and you've got one too that you're going to read here in a second. I wanted to show that Mandela story. I think if you keep going through there, we had an article that we did on the Mandela effect, and it's in there as you flip through, and that's just one of those anomalies that I think people cover and find interesting. Here's some of the upcoming edition. There it is. See, some people do remember that did Luke say, Carl, I'm your father, or I am your father. I always remember it as I am your father.
Oh, yeah.
What did you remember it as? It was always I am your father.
Luke, I am your father.
Luke, I am your father.
No, that's not true. That's impossible. All right, Blaze Weekly News Podcast 261 rolls on. Rachel, what have you got over there this week? Well, from Jay McGuire on blazenews.com, I think.
Yeah, so there's a particular kind of regulatory failure that does not arrive with subpoenas or headlines. It slips in quietly, dressed up in spreadsheets and procedural language, hiding in a denominator that nobody bothers to question. It looks clean, professional, even defensible, right up until someone actually runs the numbers. And that's precisely what has happened in the Texas Compassionate Use Program expansion under House Bill 46. The Department of Public Safety published a scoring rubric that promised a simple, balanced framework. 4 categories, each carrying equal weight. What the state implemented was not that framework. It was something materially different, and the difference is not philosophical or interpretive. It's mathematical, and it changed who won. The rule that the state published is this. DPS told applicants in plain English that 4 categories would each account for 25% of the final score. Those categories, security and infrastructure, accountability, financial responsibility, and technical and technological ability, were presented as equal partners in the evaluation process. So you can read more of the story on blazenews.com, but we find it interesting that, as the kids say, the math is not mathing here.
Yeah, that's Jay McGuire does a great job of pointing that out. That got a lot of eyeballs on it a week or two ago before the first. It was between the temporary restraint, the TRO, and the injunction that Jay was reporting on this. He says that there's more to this that's coming in the future.
So essentially, this was used to choose who the
multi-state, the Teacups program choice of multi-state operators. Ironically, none of them were Texans.
Huh. Interesting.
But many of the Texas companies that applied, actually, I know there was 2. One was BioCity Hemp. And maybe they're going to look into this and rehear all of this because of this reporting. But this was a pretty, that's pretty good egg on your face when you're not applying the right math to your own requirements. And so many of the other applicants that applied for these licenses would have qualified, especially some of our fellow Texan companies. So why can't our fellow Texans be first in line for this?
Exactly.
It's not fair. Anybody got a thought on that? Leave us a comment or.
Well, Jay McGuire is reporting here. I mean, it really ties back to what we talked about on Colton's show, the Texas Growers podcast, that journalists expose this type of thing when there's not transparency, and it forces transparency.
Yeah,
so.
and that's sometimes we get poo-pooed on by members that when we report on things, and I don't like being the bad guy sometimes, but sometimes when you're reporters. And as the publisher, if it's not me making the report, it's one of the writers. And then, I've stood by my writers before on various things, and it's media holds government accountable.
Yeah, it's like, really, you invented this rubric and then didn't even follow it. Like, it's almost as if you already had all the people in mind that you wanted to choose.
Well, it makes you wonder what happened there. We will probably hear from one of our friends in the room from Champs Trade Shows. But before we do that, I think we might maybe ought to take a break and I don't know, do a commercial break, and then we'll come back here and see if we can get Jeff to come in. And then shout out to Dalton O'Neill. What's up with him? What's he been up to these days? We need to get him back on.
No, yeah, I know he's not at Champs. He sent me like a cry face, like he's upset about not being there, but he recommended Jeff Dole, which, we talked to him in Houston at the Alternative Products Expo a couple summers ago, and he had a lot of good things to say. I actually learned some things from him. So
yeah, Jeff was telling me earlier that he wanted to talk about a product. He's going to start getting into the 1% level of. He says there's 5% THC products, 2% THC products, but he wants to be he wants to own the 1% THC market.
Yeah,
so isn't that an issue? Because I'm a lightweight on. I don't know. I can handle a 5 milligram. Even a 10 milligram, but I don't like the edibles. I'm a flower guy. I like my flower. I don't like to eat.
People's tolerance is so different. Like I could see that 1% probably is effective for some people.
And I'm a big guy, and I think 10 milligram drink is about my threshold.
Same.
And I just don't like the feeling on more than 10 milligrams of any edible or drinkable product. You give me a big blunt though, and I will puff on that thing for some time there. So anyway, Blaze Weekly News will continue on the other side, guys. Leave us a comment, like below. We may run the phone number on there if you want to call in. But thanks for tuning in this week. We'll come in with some more updates. Maybe see Jay McGuire chime in, as well as Jeff Dole live from Champs. It's Blaze Weekly News Podcast. We'll be back after this.
I don't want to set the world on fire. A flame in your heart.
When the la-la hits your lyrics, just spit ya. Head so hard that your hat can't fit ya. Either I'm with ya or against ya. Format bent ya. Back through that maze I sent ya. Talking to the rap inventor. Nigga with the game type fifth, that flame right. Spell my name right. B-I-double-G-I-E. Iced out, lights out, me and Caesar Leo. Getting head for some chick he know. See, it's all about the cheddar. Nobody do it better. Going back to Cali, strictly for the weather. Women. Sticky green, no seat, bitch, please. Papa ain't soft, dead up in the hood. Ain't no love lost, got me mixed up. You drunk them licks up. Mad cause I got my dick sucked. And my balls licked, forfeit, the game is mine. I'ma spell my name one more time, check it. It's the N-O-T-O-R-I-O-U-S. You just lay down slow. Recognize a real dawn when you see one. Sipping on booze in the house of blues. I'm going back to Cali, Cali. I'm going back to Cali, Cali, Cali. I'm going back to Cali, Cali.
All right, welcome back to Blaze Weekly News Podcast 261. And we were going to talk about the industry awaits emergency relief from appeals court. That's the next story we were going to cover as we come back here from break. Shout out to folks there at the Champs trade shows. I know folks are at Champs. And we've got Jeremy is up there from 1836 Kratom. I know who else? Our friends John and Nathan from Looper is there at Champs trade shows in Vegas. And then we've got, of course, Dalton reminded us that Jeff Dole from Trinity Hemp is over there in Vegas. And so we, we'll maybe get a call from Jeff. I reached out to some people because we've done that before. I think, who was it last year? We had a Champs team that was there, and it was Nick Montalero had called in from Champs trade shows once, and then I had Cynthia Cabrera from the Texas Hemp Business Council, and she was there, but she called in from her hotel room after things had ended over there. So we've done that at least 2 other times where we've had the friends of ours call in and give us kind of a report from Champs trade shows. I was asked if I was going to Champs trade show last week or two. Could have gone in with Jeremy. We went last year with Bahama Mama, and I didn't have any interest in going because we had gone to 2 in Austin back to back October, and then again here earlier this year we were at the Champs trade show. That, by the way, the Champs is coming back again in this October.
Oh, yay.
So, but I had gone to 3. I was in February 2025. I was in Vegas. Then I was in October of 25 in Austin. I was sick. And then
January.
And then we had it in January again. So I had been to 3 of these, so I wasn't in a hurry to get out there for that. But anyway, welcome back to Blaze Weekly News. If you're interested in giving us a shout on the call, you can call in at 512-897-7823 to make a comment or join the conversation. And then we will probably go to our friends there at Champs at some point here. We'll get with Jeff Dole. Number 4 on the story list was industry awaits emergency relief from the appellate court, which is where things are right now. As we were talking, Rachel, before we began streaming, the legal battle over Texas hemp products has, again, escalated as of last Tuesday. As you guys recall, Friday we did the special report with Jay McGuire and David Sergi. We reported Friday night. I want to thank everybody for coming in Friday night. But it escalated late Tuesday after the state officially filed its notice of appeal in the ongoing consumable hemp lawsuit. So that automatically stayed the temporary injunction previously granted to the hemp industry from last Friday. So it went from banned to not banned on Friday to banned on Tuesday to, I believe, unbanned today. This is this story here is only a day old, I think. In practical terms, the injunction is now lifted while the appeal moves forward. The attorneys representing the hemp industry say they fully expect it, as David Sergi, discussed that here last Friday night with us. It's not even been a week. According to legal counsel involved in the case, attorneys have already started the 15th Court of Appeals, that emergency rule 29-3 motion David talked about with Jay. Was filed. That was filed, I think, this morning, and the docket number was assigned. I believe the relief was given, so they can now. We have the injunction in place as of now, guys. So if you're watching this as of Thursday evening, I believe, from what I understand, the injunction is back in place. So you talked about the whiplash last week. The motion seeks to, continuing here, the motion seeks a temporary appellate relief that would effectively reinstate the protections which was granted today. Industry attorneys say, again, that the filing will occur first thing Wednesday. That was yesterday morning, in hopes of minimizing the disruption to operators and retailers. I had a client of mine calling, checking in on me this morning. Russ, what was actually going on? And I said, just hold on to your hat today, because it's bouncing around. The ball is bouncing across the courts, as they say. But Sergi responded earlier in the week, quote, "We expected the state to appeal. We are confident that the 15th Court of Appeals will reinstate the injunction," which, again, today they did. So industry members bracing for another legal round. But here we were this week. I think this is the last round, and I'm sorry Jay's not in here to give us a little bit of his feedback, but I believe the recent appeal, just marked the final part of the dramatic turn and what has become, one of the most closely watched legal battles for THC and hemp, here in the country. I think a lot of people are watching to see how Texas goes with all of this. The hemp industry here in Texas, estimated $6 billion industry. So operators, I think you're okay for now, guys, as far as I understand. But it's also it's forced a lot of people to reconsider all of this back and forth. It forced me as a business owner to take a look at expanding my magazine footprint into New Mexico, Oklahoma. I did a magazine, MJ Monthly, in Oklahoma some 3 years ago. We had some success there, and we did that during a trip that I had made to the Lucky Leaf Expo, which was the first cannabis expo in Albuquerque at the time in 2022. And so we had some limited experiment with our own expanding out beyond Texas, but things were really good for us in 2022. It's been very tight, and I talked about this on the show last week. How are my advertiser clients supposed to, advertise, Rachel, when do I have flour this week or not? You know, it's a real tough battle. So a lot of businesses looking to relocate or consider operating in Oklahoma, New Mexico, and admittedly, myself, I'm interested in opening up a cannabis magazine into those markets. Those are friendly markets for this plant and for the news that we cover, and we do cover the national news here at the desk of Blaze Weekly News. And so, anyway, everything here with Texas though is at the appellate court now, and they really hold the key to the future of this. And from what I understand, we'll probably be okay and see this. The injunction will be granted, and like the Delta 8 case, that was 5-6 years.
In the Delta 8 case, did it go back and forth like this? Like, I feel like they gave the temporary restraining order one time, and it lasted for years.
Yes.
Like, what is going on? Because, Jay McGuire, his text to me earlier said that the injunction was reinstated until the hearing set for next Thursday. So I'm
That's
like,
right.
so then on Thursday, it's going to possibly
what we hope to have happen on Thursday is that the 15th appellate court, which I believe is in Waco, will rule to likely grant the injunction. We hope that's what industry members are hoping for, and they usually, as David said last week on the show, he said that it's not uncommon for the higher court to grant the same ruling that the lower court provided. And so this is just kind of as I told one of my advertisers this earlier in the afternoon, I said, look, sadly, this is just a part of the ping pong battle. This is the ball bouncing back and forth in the litigation process. And but I agree that and anybody out there can comment and correct us, but I do agree that the Delta 8 case didn't have all this back and forth. It wasn't,
and it's just
it seemed like things went a lot smoother, or we were just, as an industry, very young and not paying attention to it as much. I don't know, but I want to say that I recall that it was not as dramatic as all of this is.
Yeah,
this is flower now we're talking, and THCA flower is a big thing now the last 3-4 years, and I felt like the Delta 8 arguments everybody was learning, I still smoked CBD flower back then.
But, why?
Well, I mean, but I was experimenting with it.
Right.
That was what was kind of, everybody was
You're
celebrating.
like, I gotta try it once, maybe twice.
I didn't have to go to Cameron and 290 to get my, I was trying whatever was on the shelves back in 2022.
No, I've tried the, some CBD cigarettes and stuff, and I mean, it's interesting. It doesn't really make me feel any.
Well, look,
type of way.
if you remember how it was, for me, I mean, I've always had my hands on a backdoor bag of dope.
Right.
But as I recall getting into this space, it was CBD flower that let me try the CBD flower and see how this goes. And I was like smoking and not doing anything. And then, we got the Delta 8. We got the Delta 8 was a little bit of a high, right? And then it got to a little Delta 9.
Yeah.
And then it came out THCA flower.
Yes,
it's everywhere, and so
And it flew under the radar for a while, because I remember during one legislative session, we even avoided really talking about THCA till the session was over, because the lawmakers were not hip to THCA yet. Yeah,
in fact, I had industry members from one of the organization groups, and not one that you might think, but one of the older groups had advised me in that session before last, not this last one, not last summer, but the summer before that, I guess. We were going to give testimony down there, and I've given Texas Hemp Reporter magazines to members of the Texas House and for those committees and letters. I've just never given verbal testimony down there in person, and kudos to all of you that are watching that have gone down there. A lot of my friends and colleagues have been down there and given testimony. Maybe I'll do that next session. But at the time I hadn't. I was going to give a magazine to the, to submit an actual issue. But I was advised by members outside of the thing that they were afraid, hey, no. there's too many ads for flour in there. Like, let's not. I was arguing. Well, wait a minute. Let's put these out so it shows that we're
A legit.
legitimate industry.
yeah.
We've got a publication with ads, articles. Most of the Hemp Reporter news was very health and wellness oriented, as well as the business side. A lot different than Blazed is. But some members were like, no, man, don't submit that until next session.
Yeah,
Because
it
they
was
felt like it
2023.
was the 23 session that happened.
The good old
And
days.
I took their advice. I said, okay, I bow out and we'll just not let them see the magazine. So, but we've grown a lot here, and then we've, with all of that stuff last year, Rachel, with the the veto, the sending of the letters, the veteran outreach, the elderly. I mean, the state really responded to the SB3 ban language that was being put out by Patrick and that whole propaganda arm. Texans really stuck together and let their voice be heard. There were a number of meetings, of course, between the organizations and industry members with senior membership, mainly the governor's office. They made a lot of influence. We've had a number of guests on. Who was that? Cole? Was that Cole? Cole was the grower podcast guy.
Colton.
Yeah, wasn't he on? He had a meeting with the fly on the wall with the
Yes, he
governor's
had.
office
He did.
last summer, and said that hey, there's good things coming, and so yeah, Governor Abbott really
Yeah, and he
bailing
was-
us out with that veto.
He was on our show that evening, like that earlier that day. He was in a closed door meeting with just a very few industry people who had the governor's ear. So,
And I
yeah.
learned later it was also in that room was John and Cody of CBD Pros from up down. They were, I think, around in that meeting as well. But we've been through a lot with all. You talked last week about the whiplash and everything that Texas has gone back. Everybody's watching Texas. When are we going to get this right? Let's get this thing figured out, lawmakers, and move on. For me, I've been making phone calls and talking to Oklahoma business owners and New Mexico business owners, and they are supportive of Texas. They want to see us get this figured out. They do. They're actually supportive from what I've talked to. So any thoughts? Leave a comment below. Or give us a like, thumbs up. Subscribe to the program if you can. We don't always do these things live every week. But we like to do them live because we want to get feedback and see what you guys think. And so give us a like, subscribe to the show. Check us out online at blazenews.com. I'm Russell. She's Rachel. Let's go to the story number 5 is the medical cannabis Schedule 3 issue. This was written by our fellow friend Bobby Sean. You want to take that one at all? Or,
Sure.
That's our Schedule 3. Yeah, we've all had there's the graphic on screen there that medical cannabis moving towards Schedule 3. This is, you don't have to read all that, Rachel. But
Yeah,
that's-
well, basically the gist of it is that cannabis research, medical cannabis research in this country has been slowed by the fact that cannabis has been treated as a Schedule 1 substance, which is reserved for drugs like heroin and, the very actual serious narcotics. And this has been honestly a huge detriment in Texas in particular because we have so many research institutions.
Yeah.
And so anyways, it just made it harder to move forward. And now that, it's going from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3, and it's still headed for an expedited DEA hearing beginning on June 29th, 2026, which is my birthday. Happy birthday to me.
Oh, there you go.
So it's not full federal legalization, obviously. Adult use cannabis remains federally restricted, and products outside of FDA approval or state medical licensing may still remain Schedule 1. But the good news is that for medical research, like oncology care and for elderly patients, this could be one of the most meaningful federal cannabis shifts in decades. And it is a good thing, but there's a lot of us that think that it should be completely descheduled. So it's a step in the right direction, for sure.
Well, that's it's particularly important when you're dealing with the universities that have programs that want to study cannabis. You know, A&M is, you know, one of those universities has a lot of money towards medical. You've got, you know, the collegiate level where these grants, federal grants, are given to the universities and private sector hospitals and the healthcare industry that need to test these products. That's good. Anything else to add there? Or?
You know, just my personal experience having, you know, I've experienced a lot of chronic illness in my family. And so I'm just really excited because it's going to be like the story says that there's real evidence supporting cannabinoid research and cancer symptom management, especially chemotherapy-related nausea and vomiting, appetite issues, pain, and palliative care support. And, you know, my brother, you've met him many times, and he has told me that appetite issues, that's like a huge benefit for someone in his position because he's, you know, underweight because of chronic illness.
Yeah.
And being able to get an appetite to eat is just so important for overall health. And it's exciting that, you know, we're going to be able to see more research in these areas. Yeah, and
it is important. I hope that it means good things for small business owners, not just the big corporations with this scheduling thing. And I think some of this is going to get worked out. And also, there's another story or two. Jay's worked on one that is more the glass is half empty than full, I think, on Jay's McGuire's take on this. This was Bobby's article that he submitted. So, you know, we're all good. It's all good for the research for cancer and patients and the medicine aspect for healthcare. But what is it going to mean for, you know, smaller businesses in this space? And is it, you know, are we going to see the big box stores really take this over? Is it going to be Walmart, pharmacies, CVS's? Is this going to benefit big box stores like Walmart and
Target is? I saw a thing today. Target is putting THC beverages in its Texas stores. So.
Oh, the beverages.
Yeah.
So they're moving ahead with beverages. Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, we'll see how they end up with if we end up getting the stores with in the future. How is this going to look for big pharmacies and those big box stores?
Right.
Let's keep the flower in the possession and the power with the people, not the corporations. I think that's what we all want to see, is that the power balance stays fair, right? That's what we want, is a free and open market. So we'll be back on the other side. Blaze Weekly News will continue after this. We'll be back 2 minutes.
Fuel and Elevate is proud to power the Texas Hemp Show. Try our instant keto cream and sugar, nootropics, adaptogens, energy boosters with hemp D, 9-THC, and CBD. Fuel your body and elevate your mind. Euphoric sense of well-being, elevated mood, decreased stress and anxiety, increased and sustained energy, increased focus, enhanced physical performance, and deep restorative sleep. The perfect blend to fuel your day and elevate your mind. 15 grams protein grass-fed collagen, 4.4 grams nootropics, 5.2 grams energy boosters, 400 milligrams adaptogens, 5 milligrams THC, 2 milligrams CBD full spectrum hemp extract. Fuel and Elevate puts the good in your morning both day and night. Get 30% off your next order. Improve your mood, increase energy, decrease stress and anxiety while providing a euphoric sense of well-being and the added benefit of deep restorative sleep. Order today at fuelandelevate.com. That's fuelandelevate.com.
All right, welcome back to Blaze Weekly News Podcast number 261 this week. As we continue the conversation here for the next, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, we'll keep the conversation going. And thanks for tuning in. A lot of news going on federally, and then just stuff that's been going on here in Texas as the ball kind of bounces back and forth, Rachel, in the courts. But I think we're going to be in good shape. And then we'll see where things, kind of end up by the end of November, or was it November 12th is the federal hemp deadline. But I don't know. I understand there's an opt-in bill that Rand Paul has put together that would let the states decide where they want to go with their hemp programs independently of the federal government. That sounds like a good idea. There's different things going on, and I think this will hopefully all resolve itself. So, comment maybe. What was did we get one from one of the girls commented below on getting we talked about the regulation with what was it? Who's that?
DUIs. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. What was that about the DUIs?
So, yeah, McKinsey said, I hate how people can get multiple DUIs without getting a felony for it, putting other drivers' lives at risk. However, if you get caught with a THC vape, your whole future in life could be ruined. Because they just, in Texas, they just hit you with a felony immediately if you have a THC vape.
It's 3 DWIs because I've got one. It's 3. It's 3 is the felony on the DWI. I said, but that's stupid. You can just get caught with a vape and get a felony. I mean, that's so dumb. What other comments did we get over there, Carl?
That's the most recent one. Just traffic. People like.
That's great, guys. We love to hear when you guys leave us a note or leave us a comment below, just on the show in general. What about this pastors and presidents? Why? I have a story here. This is like this number 6 story here. Have y'all heard where the pastor that was being advised that they had his colleagues were meeting with evangelist Perry Stone, who reportedly suggested that intelligence officials were concerned and about the confirmation of non-human life being an issue for various congregations across the United States. And so TV or online TV podcaster and evangelist Perry Stone mentioned earlier in the week that he had received multiple calls from fellow evangelists that members of the deep state or intelligence groups were meeting and had meetings with other evangelists to warn the church, theological community about the pending ET UFO contacting. Yeah, I know I bring this stuff back because I'm a nut for it, but this stuff is everywhere.
Yeah.
Pastor briefings that sparked speculation. The story erupted after multiple pastors and Christian commentators claimed that they had either attended or learned about confidential meetings involving government-connected individuals discussing UFO disclosure and its potential effect on religious communities. You've got, according to various reports circulating online, attendees were allegedly warned that the future revelation involving UFOs, or UAPs as they call it today, or non-human entities, may challenge the traditional understanding of creation as previously believed, and where humanity's place in the universe and angels and demons and biblical prophecy all kind of throw in together. Now, folks that are not ufology guys, I know that in 1960, the Brookings Institute did a report, and there's a graphic for that in our studio, the proposed study for the implication of peaceful space activities for human affairs. I know this stuff very well, but I know it well enough to know the entire report. It's the black file there, Carl, but it's the Brookings Institute report, often called. This is the 1960 graphic that was prepared for a very infant NASA. And one of the concerns, I think it was on page 195 of this report, you guys can look this up on the internet, but the proposed study of peaceful space activities for human affairs, was reading that. But they have, there's a concern in that report that it has serious concern for religious implications, economic, and this is one of the reasons that they have not had disclosure, is because the report in 1960 stated that there was a lot of concern for what this would do to our economic structure, our entire social breakdown.
A crisis of faith is basically what they call it.
Yeah, crisis of faith. You got something to contribute or add there yourself?
It's just I looked it up on Google, and the AI overview, it says the question of whether the church is ready for UFO contact is currently a subject of intense debate among religious leaders, particularly following claims that U.S. officials have privately briefed pastors to prepare for imminent Bible-changing revelations. And I see a lot of sermons and stuff on my algorithm, and I've seen one recently where someone was like, the church is not ready for this, and talking about, you know, UFO contact. So maybe these private briefings are what prompted that video, you know, because I was like, what would prompt something like that? And I think we're probably getting ready to see some pretty crazy SHIT, if you know what I mean.
Pretty crazy shit. I'll say it. No, but it's just crazy that is one of the things going on. And I recall in my time just studying UFOs in 1960, that report, you know, it was one of the biggest concerns that they had was the whole religious aspect. What, Carl, you got something you wanted to add, or?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to just say that most people don't realize that this is just a rest stop place. You know, it's got everything. It's vacation. It's like the Bahamas. You know, for
we're
millions of galactic miles. This is
well,
the
from
most
what
beautiful place to be.
From what I've read, it's like we are the prison planet. We're like the crazy. We're like we're the crazy side of town. We're the barrio. We're the hood in the galaxy is what I've heard. But
well, I think, you know, UFOs. It just seems like maybe it's spiritual, you know, more so than anything else.
Well, there's another show I'm going to be doing, Weird Weekly News, and this will be the focus of some of that. I had some, maybe we had some graphics there. It's no big deal, Carl, if we can't run those or not. I wanted to move on to another story. Missing scientists, victims of espionage or alien agenda. I don't know if you want to touch on this, but have you guys heard about the missing scientists? It's all over the news.
Okay, is this about the suicide clusters?
Well, there's been suicides. There's been guys missing scientists. Here's the graphic for that we had for this: victims of espionage or alien agenda. I don't know if it has anything to do with ETs or not, but a lot of the scientists were involved in deep black projects. They were concerned about coming up missing. A UFO colleague, David Wilcox, took his own life April 20th and allegedly outside of Boulder, Colorado. I didn't know David personally, but I followed David's work for many, many years. The Ancient Alien star took his own life after having some challenging times in his life on April 20th, and after working for Gaia and then separating from Gaia, him and Timothy Good. But anyway, this is a topic that's been trending in the last few weeks.
And it looks like the motive, the suspected kind of conspiracy behind it is that many of these scientists worked on advanced systems tied to military or communications projects. So a little fishy there. When scientists operate in fields like advanced propulsion, weapon systems, AI and surveillance tech, and classified aerospace programs, they sit at the intersection of power, secrecy, and risk. Ooh.
So, I mean, are they working on secret programs and then finding out too much information that they're ending up not?
Their liability
factor is what is
like,
I don't know. Maybe we need to just keep doing Blaze Weekly News and not do that weird weekly news show after all. We may not even want to touch that. Another one is the news story here is the DARPA. Okay, we lost Ted Turner the other day, and
this is crazy.
No, this is kind of weird. There's the graphic for that one there, X-Files predictive programming. Okay, there's a clip. Maybe we could share the clip of the video of the movie in 1998. There's a scene there, and we'll set this up here real quick. But the there's reports of the hantavirus, and I had an article here that we were going to put online on Blaze News. Enter hantavirus predictive programming, Hollywood, and the post-COVID fear machine. In 1998, in the 1998 Fox film X-Files: Fight the Future, used a fake hantavirus outbreak as the official government explanation for a deeper extraterrestrial crisis. In the film, FEMA becomes the public face of the containment. And you can run that video clip while I'm talking over this. I'll just talk over this if you run that. They're meeting there in the scene where the classic X-Files disease as a cover story for federal agencies managing the perception of the public is fed a safer narrative rather than the truth. Here's the clip right here. I don't know if we can get the audio on it now. Let's play a tad of that. Got any audio for that? No?
Doesn't seem to be working right now.
Well, when you screen share, you have to tell the screen share that you've got audio, but it's no big deal. We got some music here, and anyhow, the interesting that that was using the antivirus as a plague of all plagues in the film, but then I've interviewed guys from. I've never interviewed Chris Carter, but I have had Dean Haglund on my program numerous times, and Dean was the blonde-haired glasses of the Lone Gunman guys. They had their own Lone Gunman show, and I had had him on many times over the years in my programs, and he said that it was not uncommon for intelligence groups to give feed story plots to the X-Files.
Yeah, and The Simpsons.
Oh, and The Simpsons. Don't even get us started on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
The Simpsons, that's like a whole nother. What's up with that?
I know.
Like, there's something going on there. Anyway, that's all the time we got. We're out of time, I reckon. What do you got?
I just wanted to tie it back to the cruise that's happening right now. Where there's an outbreak, and then what Ted Turner said when he died, he wanted to come back as a.
What does it say? Ted Turner said when he died that I would like to be reincarnated as a deadly virus to help solve the overpopulation problem. Ted Turner, 86 years old, died yesterday.
And now we're having this hantavirus possibly spreading human to human on this cruise ship. We think we're in a tough spot in the hemp industry. I would hate to be a cruise line right now because I don't think people are going to want to go on cruises for a very long time.
We do live in very weird times, and you're getting a weird version of the Blaze Weekly News. We have considered doing the Weird Weekly News as a consideration of another show that we would do. We're dabbling a little bit in that just because we've had so much back and forth whiplash with the hemp industry here in the last month, 2 months. We thought we'd just kind of bring in a little pop culture into the scene here with us. So anyway, thank you guys. The hour's up. We went live this week again. Shout out to our friends at Champs, and we'll have a report on next Thursday, maybe with Sergi and some of the attorneys. We'll try to get out to industry members and get some updates on what's going on with that appellate court decision next week. Cool?
Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, there you go. That's the show. We'll wrap up out of here, and we'll see you later next week. Carl, Rachel, I'm Russell. Blaze Weekly News. See you next time, guys.